Well, greetings, saints of God, and those of you who are visiting the channel at this time. I am Dolores Taylor, just bringing you just a few words of wisdom. Today we will not be long, but I want to thank each and every one of you for just coming on board today. I really do appreciate your kindness and your ability to think of me and to believe that the Lord had put a word in my mouth that is for this time. Today is Sunday, July 28th, 2019. 2019. Wow. The time is moving, people. The time is moving. And this is the time that we must be mindful and really stay aware. We must stay aware that we are living in the last and evil days. And Jesus Christ is soon to come. And let me just say, whether or not you believe in him or not, he's coming. He is coming. He's coming. He's coming. Spread the word. Jesus is coming. I remember a few years ago, the Slim and the Supreme Angels, the late Slim and the Supreme Angels, they sang a song. Have you heard the word? Jesus is coming soon. And I just want to stand here today and let you know that Jesus is coming soon. Today I want to share a word of wisdom. Each of my broadcasts will be different because I am not coming in my own accord. I'm coming as unction of the Holy Ghost, and I'm allowing the Lord to lead me. I'm not coming in my flesh. I'm not coming to say what I want to say. And when I finish saying what the Lord has put in me to say, I'm signing off. Praise God. But today I want to share something with you. I was just kind of laying across my bed last week. Just the TV wasn't on. I was just laying there, somewhat, I guess, in position or being prostrate for the Lord to download something in my spirit, but not realizing that that is what he was going to do. And these words just literally fell out of heaven into my heart. They just literally, it was as if a rain was trickling down, and these words came into my spirit. And the word was, you can know a person's heart toward you whenever they have choices. Whenever a person have choices, that is when you will get to see what is in their heart for real. Also, another word of wisdom the Lord downloaded into my spirit was, a person can have a gift in their hand, but no love in their heart. You can have a gift in your hand, but no love in your heart. What are you saying, Taylor? I'm saying that we must be very mindful and very careful when people give gifts. Because sometimes people are not given a gift because they really love us and they really care for us and they really want us to have what it is that they're bringing. There are a lot of reasons why people give gifts. Sometimes they're given the gift because they really do love us. Sometimes they're given the gift because others are watching and they want to be seen. Sometimes they're given a gift because they're trying to get you under their clutches so that you can come on board with them no matter what. And then if you ever were to speak against something that they do or say, they will throw it back up in your face that I gave you a gift. So be very mindful when a person is giving a gift. Gifts are good. We all like gifts. We all at some point in time will give gifts, but we must be mindful of the gift. We must be mindful of the motive or the purpose behind why a person is giving a gift. Some people give a gift because God have commanded them to do it. They may not like you at all, but the Lord has so impressed upon their heart to give unto you, and so they have to do it, and they're doing it as unto the Lord. Has nothing to do with you. You will know your worth and value by what you allow. I'm going to say that again. You will know your worth and value by what you allow. See, our worth, we decide our worth. We decide our worth. But others decide the value. They decide whether or not what we say we need in order to be happy or be sustained is something that they're willing to either to pay or to not pay. You know, it's just like if I hold this ink pen up. This is just a ink pen. It's from my bank, Chase Bank. But if I said that if I decided to put this pen on eBay and decided to charge $750, it is you who decide if you value this pen enough to spend $750. See, the value that you pay for something, it's determined whether or not you feel that it is worthy of what you're putting into it. So don't get mad because people don't value you. People will value you the way that they see you put a worth on your life. So if you don't have a worth already on your life, I'm helping somebody right here. This is a word of wisdom to somebody. If you don't already have a worth of value on your life, then don't get mad when people send pennies to you, when people send rocks to you, when people don't treat you the way that you would like to be treated, when people don't honor you in the way that you feel that you should be honored. Don't get mad. Just go into your secret closet and do some recollection and decide what your value is, what your worth is. Because see, if I charge $750, just because I charge $750 for this ink pen, it doesn't mean that you're going to pay $750 for this ink pen. See, I may value it, say, oh, this is an ink pen from JP Chase Morgan Bank, and this is a valuable pen, and this pen can do this, and this pen can do that, and then you decide if you're going to pay $750. So just because I put a value on the pen, it is not the indication that you're willing to feel that the pen is worth $750. So is it like the pen, so is it for your life. You are the person who put a value on your life. You got to decide what you are worth. And then once you tag that as this is the worth of your life, then other people will decide if they value it enough to pay for it. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about just in your life. So be careful. Be careful. Be observant. Watch how people handle you. Because truly, the way people handle you, most of the time, is the way they handle most people. We are really not that far from being the same with most of our friends, family members, and colleagues. So you put the value on your life. You decide what you're worth. Also, make sure that when you have relationships, when you're entering into any type of relationship, especially when you don't know a person, when it's a new relationship, make sure that you, at some point in time, begin to ask God to reveal their heart to you. See, as I taught on last week, it is very important that in these last days that we have the gift of discernment, that we be able to discern. Because many people are led astray. Many people feel like, oh, they like me. They're going to do this for me. They're going to do this for me. They're going to, And then you get the biggest letdown. You get the biggest drop down. Because, so what happened when that happens? That means that you met a new person and you put a value on them more than they put a value on you. So you were willing to make sacrifices that they were not willing to make. Because to me, and I know for everybody, love is something different depending upon who you ask. But for me, the greatest manifestation of love is a sacrifice. In other words, when people do only what they want to do, that's not love. But love is, man, if somebody call you at 2:00 in the morning and it's a person that you love and they said, baby, I'm sick, or honey, I'm sick, or sister, can you help me? Can you pray for me? Do you have a few dollars? Whatever their need is, then you're not moved by the time that they call. What's motivating you is the fact that this is somebody that you love. We spend a lot of time, people, and I'm trying to help you out so you don't spend a lot of time. We spend a lot of time. We spend a lot of time that we can never regain giving to people who do not love us. We'll travel the world for somebody that we love who will not cross the street. Who will not cross the street for you. So you say, okay, well, we're not supposed to treat people like they treat us. No, we're not supposed to treat. We're not supposed to hate people. We're not supposed to not love people. But when it comes down to where you give your time, where you give your resources, let me share this with you. I'm going to share this with you. I'm not going to call her name, even though I do believe in calling names, but I'm not going to call this person's name because I have my reasons, but I'm not going to call this person's name. But over the last year, there was a person that I wanted to be a blessing to. I mean, I would just be sitting at my desk or just out and about or, in my kitchen cooking, just doing something. And it was like that person would come into my heart like, okay, I'm going to do something for them. I wanted to do something really nice for them. Every time, literally, every single time I wanted to do something for this person would hurt me. Now, this person never knew that I wanted to do something good for them. Every time, literally 5 times. 5 times. Until when they did it the last time, I had to stop and take note. I said, wait a minute. Wait a hot minute. Maybe the Lord is blocking it. Maybe the Lord is blocking it. Because I kept trying to be a blessing to this person. But I never told them that I was trying to be a blessing. Because I like to surprise people. And I kept trying. And I guarantee you, I kid you not, people, if I purposed in my heart on a Sunday that I wanted to bless them on a Tuesday, if God is my witness, Monday, that person would literally do something and lash out at me. So one day they were in a service. We would always be in the same service. And so I was standing on the pulpit and I was ministering. And you know how you just look out, you just looking, you're not really looking at anybody in particular. But, if you're preaching, if you're standing on the pulpit and you just look out, sometimes you just make eye contact. You just kind of, just making eye contact. Every time I would make eye contact with her, and I know that she did not realize that I saw hatred on her face, because her body language was, normal, but her face was literally disfigured. I didn't pay any attention to it. Then the next time I had to preach, I'm standing on the pulpit, just kind of looking out about. I see her sitting in the far back. Her face was full of hatred. And I said, Lord, what in the world is going on? She was thinking that she was looking normal, but her face, I could see her spirit. That's why it's important to ask God for discernment. If you don't have it, people, please ask God for it, because it is a tool that we are going to need going forth in these last days. You're going to need to have the ability to rightfully discern. Now, discerning hatred and unrighteousness is not all that we discern. We are also able to discern when a person is loving and when a person is kind. But every time I would look at this particular person, I saw that they hated me. I saw that there were deep resentments in their heart toward me. I said, well, what the world? So after making an attempt 5 times to get this person a gift, and it would just block. And see, what I will not do, I will not give a gift out of a grudging heart. I will not give if my heart is not in agreement with it. So I had to hold back and stand down. So I held back and stood down long enough for God to reveal to me that this person was not worthy of my gift. He says, see, for what you have to do in order to give a gift, it requires things on a whole nother level. So you give into her and she has hatred in her heart toward you. You just give into something. You're like pouring water in a cup with a hole in it. that you're forever pouring. You pour, and it's just coming out. It doesn't have time to stay in so that you can drink the water and become properly hydrated. So God is just wanting us to know in this hour, as we are living toward the last and evil days, that it's time for us to know people's heart. It's time for us to ask God to give us discernment, to help us to see where people are, because people can fool us. People can deceive us. And if you're deceived by gifts, if you're deceived by what people do for you, I had to learn the hard way. I had to learn the hard way that people can feed you if you're hungry. They can clothe you if you're naked. They can give you a place to stay if you have no place to stay, without loving you. So please don't get it twisted in thinking that just because people do good things for you, or just because people have been nice to you, that it means that they love you. No, you've got to test that heart. You've got to try their heart. And one of the ways you try the heart is when people have choices. Choices. I always say, it just baffles me. No judgment. I'm not judging anybody. But it always baffles me how women, especially women, some women, a lot of women, they can fall in love with a man who's in prison. They've never met him before. And he's writing them all kind of letters and notes and telling them how much they love him. Let me share this. Many years ago, many years ago, I was a radio announcer, and I did radio, and all of a sudden, and every day on my show, I would always send shouts out to the people in the hospital. Sometimes I would have names, but I would call out loved ones, and family members would call me and say, when you're doing your prayer call, can you call out my cousin name, my husband name, my granddaughter's name, my son, my brother, and they would say they're either in prison, they're in the hospital. And so I would do that. And so I would always send a shout out to people who were incarcerated. Because I think a lot of times good people can do wrong things, and sometimes people get sent to jail, and it doesn't mean that they didn't do something wrong, but it just meant that they got caught. Like, there are things that I've done that were probably worthy of jail, but I just didn't get caught. And the fact that I got away, I didn't go and turn myself in. I'm just keeping it 100. So anyway, all of a sudden I started getting mail at my job. I started receiving mail from my job from an inmate at the local jail. So the first letter I got, I opened it, I read it. I was like, okay. It was like 3 or 4 pages. Like, what the world? But I still didn't think nothing of it. It's like, okay, so he sent me a letter. And he was saying, thank you for remembering the people who were incarcerated. Well, then a few days later, I got another letter. And then the second letter that I received, he was going into more detail, like telling me that he loved me and he believed that we were going to be together, and, he loved the sound of my voice. And I said, whoa, pump your brakes. So I went to my general manager then, and I shared the letter with him, and he gave me instructions on what to do, how to nip that in the bud. And I followed my general manager's instruction, and the letters just stopped. But I'm saying all that to say, we would be surprised to know how many people who are incarcerated, and they start sending someone a love letter, and the people just fall in love with them. I can't fall in love with you, dude. I can't fall in love with anybody that don't have a choice to show me if whether or not you are right, or you are righteous or unrighteous. See, because if a person is in jail, they talk that talk, baby. Let's keep it real. They talk the talk. They apologize. They sorry. Oh, I'm sorry I did it. I didn't mean no harm. Give me another chance. But you don't get to see who that inmate is until they're out of jail. Once they're no longer incarcerated, now you got a choice. You don't have an officer standing over you saying, get up, sit down, go over here, go eat now. You can't go here. You got to go here, go to bed, lights out. See, when you no longer have that, and you have the opportunity to be governed by your own choices, then we will see what's really in your heart. Then and then only will we see what is really in your heart. People don't know what's in your heart until you have choices. People have promised things. I'm going to do this. 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 And so in the past, I used to get all excited because I really thought that they loved me and they cared about me. And they just drop it. Did not do what they say they were going to do, but didn't even have the decency to come back and say, I'm sorry, I did promise that, but I'm not able to do it. Just left me just standing in the cold, holding the bag. So it is life's experiences that causes the wisdom that God give me to be able to share with you. I'm sharing with you words of wisdom, words to live by, making sense out of nonsense. And as we get older, people, our tolerance for nonsense is pretty much zero. It's thumbs down. I don't have no tolerance for I have zero tolerance for nonsense. You must come correct or don't come at all. And I mean, I'm talking about everything straight across the board. Everything straight across the board. Come correct. So you will not know what's in a person's heart until they have choices. See? Let me share this. And I'm getting ready to get out of here. Let's just say, for instance, you meet a guy, you meet a man, you're a lady and you meet a guy. And it could be if you're a man and you meet a lady. And it's someone that you find attractive, you kind of have some common interests. After you start, seeing that person and dating that person and talking to that person on a regular basis, this is something I like for you to do. This is a little test. This is a test. This is a test. I want you to ask him or her, say, hey, let me ask you something. Like, we're just doing a little test here. Say, you have 5 telephones. You have 5 cell phones. 5. You have 5 cell phones. Very few people have 5 cell phones. But this is a test, though. You have 5 cell phones. And these are the 5 people that will call you and your phone will ring at the same time. Your father, your mother, if you are in business, your coworker, your secretary, administrator, if you have a child, your child, or me. And just ask, what order would you answer those calls? They're all ringing at the same time. Your mother, your father, if you own your own business and you have an administrator that's keeping you informed on what's going on with your business. So you have your mother, you have your father, your mother, your church administrator or your secretary, the person that handles your affairs, your child, or me. The child is it's an adult child. It's not a child under the age of 18. Your child is 40. I'm going to say that. Your child is 40. So they call you. Who would you answer first? What priority would you put those calls? And people, trust me, you will be surprised to see where you come in at. But you can't let them know that's what you're doing. It's just a test. It's just a test. To see if they see your number popping up on the phone, they see their mother's number popping up on the phone, their father's number popping up on the phone, the person who handled their business finances pop up on the phone, and their adult child pop up on the phone, and you. See who would they answer and what the priority is, and see what number would you be. Even if you're not number 1, you should at least be number 2. And if you're not, until you're able to be number 2, at least 1 or 2, then that's a person that is subconsciously letting you know that he or she has not put you on the value and the worth that requires you giving them your value. See, people will value you the way you value yourself. So if you don't come up as number 1 or number 2, then I would advise you to hold back. And every so often, I'm not saying cut the person off, but every so often, continue to do that test. Don't tell them what you're doing. Just say, okay. And then every so often do the test again and see if would you at least rise to the top. So if you're staying number 4 and 5, that's an indication that this person is not placing the proper value and worth that you have or that you should have on your own life. Well, until next time, this is Dolores Taylor. Listen, I want to thank each and every one of you for your likes and your subscriptions. And if you're continuing to be blessed by this broadcast, please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, stay hydrated.